Hidden on the fringe of the Appalachian Mountains lurks a mysterious and elusive giant, the largest of its kind, that few have ever heard of and even fewer have even seen. And the fun part is, it may just be in the water with you right now. Let's unravel the mystery of the Allegheny's very own Gator.
Our adventure begins here at the Wild, roughly 10,000 acres. This AZA accredited zoo / safari park conservation center is the largest of its kind in North America. Now they work in conjunction with the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, and here at the Wilds they house animals from all the way down to the American burying beetle, all the way up the ladder to the charismatic megafauna that we know and love, like the giraffes or the southern white rhinos. But today our adventure begins here with the animal that we're looking for, the Allegheny Gator.
But what exactly is an Allegheny Gator? Well, they're hellbenders. Hellbenders are giant, fully aquatic salamanders that live their entire lives fully submerged underwater in these beautiful, clean, clear, cool, freshwater, rocky bottom streams. But how the hellbender got its name is not exactly well known. However, one story tells of a fisherman that was out on the river one day when suddenly a large mysterious creature came wriggling seemingly out of nowhere, like they crawled out of hell and were bent on returning. Today, fishermen will occasionally come across these reclusive creatures, but it's becoming more and more rare to see them in the wild. That's why the Wild, as well as a number of other organizations, are working so hard. And that's where we are today.
Let's go, come on. Here we're going to be meeting a great friend of mine, Olivia, who's going to be showing us the animal that we've been looking for, the Allegheny Gator, or what many people know as the Hellbender. Hey Olivia, great to see you again.
Olivia is the Hellbender tech here at the Wilds. That means that she takes care of these cryptic amphibians by feeding, maintaining their water quality, and assuring that they have a clean bill of health before they're released. That's right! The Hellbenders here at the Wilds are a part of an amazing conservation project, one that seeks to build wild populations through this captive rearing program. Once these little guys reach an appropriate size and are given a clean bill of health, these little guys you see here won't be so little, and they'll be released into a specific clean freshwater stream where they can thrive. This program is so important because hellbenders are a threatened species. With populations on the decline, these large salamanders need some help. And this program does just that.
So, now that we've fed these guys and we've got to actually look around your exhibit here at the Wilds, what do you say we go out and actually release these guys?
I think that's a good plan.
Woo! Let's go! I should probably put these back.
So we headed out to an undisclosed location to release some hellbenders into a stream that both met the necessary requirements for the hellbender and was healthy enough to support a population. Once there, we discussed what part of the creek to release at and how to get down to the water. Wasn't as easy as it looked. Literally the middle of nowhere. But once we figured that out, we set out into the creek, found some great hellbender homes under some large, flat rocks, and introduced the young hellbenders to their new, natural homes. As you'd expect, it's not as easy as it looks. These guys are super slimy, strong amphibians, so you have to kind of hold them a little tight. Not too tight, but tight enough. You can kind of see it here, but we had to have some serious patience putting these hellbenders under these rocks, trying to herd them under. We're trying to do this as quickly as possible so as to not overstress the animals so that their reintroduction goes as smoothly as possible. And of course, to make sure that they were comfortable and chilling in their new casa. This was such a beautiful stream. Unfortunately, too many streams throughout the natural range of the hellbenders are becoming polluted and eroded to the point of population collapse. Hellbenders require healthy streams to live in. Too many pollutants can kill a hellbender, and erosion can take silt and fill in or cover up the rocks where the hellbenders call home. Another thing is that hellbenders have incredibly sensitive skin. No, they don't have eczema. Their skin has a permeable membrane. Whereas your or my skin will not allow most things like water to passively move through our skin, Hellbender skin does. You see, the skin of the Hellbender allows moisture to enter their body, but it also won't prevent the water from leaving. This means that if the Hellbender is out of the water for too long, they'll dry out. This is why Hellbenders are fully aquatic. So then, what is the benefit of having this permeable skin? Great question. Because their skin allows things into their body, it also allows necessary nutrients and even oxygen to enter directly into their bloodstream. Wait, what? That's right, Hellbenders take full advantage of this unique skin condition by cutaneously respirating, effectively breathing through their skin. But that's not the weirdest part, because Hellbenders have fully developed lungs, which as far as we know, they don't really use to breathe. Why in the world? These lungs are occasionally filled up to use to create what's called neutral buoyancy. Similar to a fish's swim bladder, these lungs act like a scuba diver's BC, helping the Hellbender to find just the right amount of air to make movement through the water as easy as possible. Can you imagine breathing through your skin? Wild. There is a downside though. Because they have this permeable skin that allows things like water, nutrients, and oxygen directly into the blood, it also allows other things like pesticides, herbicides, and other pollutants in. Things that can harm a Hellbender. In fact, in high enough doses, over a short period of time, it can even kill a Hellbender, forcing them out of their natural habitat. This makes Hellbenders phenomenal bioindicators. Canaries in the coal mine, if you will. You see, Welsh coal miners in the 1890s would put birds like canaries in cages to help determine air quality. If the canary would stop singing or become less active, the miners would know to take action and get out of the mine before things became lethal. In the same way, we can actually use the Hellbender to indicate the quality of our rivers and streams. If these sensitive giants disappear, something is harming the ecosystem and the potential collapse could be on the horizon. An example of an area where Hellbenders used to be, where we saw some serious ecosystem collapse, would be the Cuyahoga River in Ohio. This river literally caught on fire at least 12 times in the mid-1900s, and the ecosystem is still trying to recover from the lack of management nearly a century ago. Hellbenders matter.
That's brown water. Oh, like 5 pounds on each foot. Let's go find them in the wild.
The Allegheny River system is incredibly unique, and some of its tributaries are among some of the most biodiverse and clean freshwater river systems in the eastern United States. This is one of those tributaries. In Pennsylvania, it's illegal to capture wild Hellbenders without proper permitting. Laws like these are in place to protect various species of concern, and while it kinda sucks that we have to make these laws, they are necessary, and I'm a big fan of them. So, in an effort to find wild Hellbenders here in Pennsylvania, we're meeting up with herpetologist Matthew Connard. He studies these amphibians in an effort to find out how to better protect them.
All right, let's go.
Dan, I don't think you need all that gear.
What? Fine. Let's go.
These large rocks are where the Hellbenders call home, and they're exactly what we're looking for in an ecosystem that supports Hellbenders. Great sign. Hey, this might not look like much, but this freshwater crustacean is a great sign to see. Crawdads, also known as crayfish, make up about 90% of Hellbender diet during summer months. And seeing these everywhere is a good sign. It means that the food is plentiful. We love to see it. Out here in the creek is a similar creature to a hellbender, the mud puppy. It's oftentimes confused with hellbenders. The main obvious difference here is that the adult mud puppies have external gills. This morphology is known as paedomorphism. It occurs when the adults of a species retain the juvenile characteristics. In this case, they're exhibiting gills. Mud puppies are also not very wrinkly as opposed to hellbenders. In addition, hellbenders can be sometimes up to 2 times the size of mud puppies, which is crazy. Such a cool find, but not quite what we're looking for today.
Hellbender! Oh God, we got one! Whoa! Look at this beauty! This is what we've been looking for. This is what the whole video is about. Now this is a pretty well full-grown female.
Big old girl.
Woo! She is absolutely gorgeous.
Hellbenders are the largest amphibian by biomass or weight in all of the Americas. Weighing upwards of 5.5 pounds and reaching up to 29 inches in length, this also makes them the 5th largest amphibian on the planet, only surpassed by the African Goliath frog and the Asiatic giant salamanders, some of which can reach up to 6 feet long and weigh upwards of 130 pounds. True giants.
Which is taller than me, which wouldn't take much, but still. Use the slime as hair gel.
Hellbenders are coated in a very slippery, slimy substance that has a couple purposes. 1, it helps to keep them moist when moving around in their environment. 2, it could help in its hydrodynamic capabilities. And 3, it aids against predation. When these salamanders feel threatened, they'll really release a ton of this nasty slime that's not very appetizing to most predators. This slime is why they also get the name the snot otter. And they're also perfectly camouflaged for these creeks or rivers that they live in. In fact, for the most part, these animals are nocturnal, meaning that they only come out at night and sometimes the crepuscular hours, at around dawn and dusk. Also, they tend to stay around the same area for a longer period of time, usually staying under the same rock waiting for their food to come to them. However, they may occasionally leave their rock to look for food when they need to. And during the breeding season, the males will go on searches for the females. During this process, some male hellbenders will display territorial behaviors, saying, "Oi, this is my rock!" What's so unique about this whole behavior is that the males will actually stay with the eggs until they hatch and may even chase off the females once the eggs have been fertilized.
So when these guys are hunting, they have what's called a lateral line, which runs down the side of their body, kind of like a fish or a catfish might have, because they have really poor eyesight. And if you look at the eyes, they're so tiny, really itty bitty, and they're not really that useful, and that's why they rely heavily on that lateral line. But they're gonna be much more opportunistic for their food than anything else. These guys are pretty well long-lived amphibians, living anywhere between 30 and 50 years, and they're found in creeks just like this that are really pristine, cool water, rocky bottom streams. And you'll see they have like these little dorsolateral sort of folds on the side that kind of looks like lasagna, which is also why it's called the lasagna lizard.
These increase surface area on the skin so that it can then breathe more. Remember, they're cutaneous respirators, so the more skin they have, the more oxygen they can bring into their body.
Luckily, people are starting to know more and more about these really, really pretty, really unique, creepy looking creatures.
And what's sad is that hellbenders often get a bad rap because they look odd, and often people think that they're aggressive. The truth is, unless you're food or another competing hellbender, these are gentle giants. So no, they're not venomous. And they rarely, if ever, bite. I've worked with hellbenders for almost a decade, and I've never truly been bitten by one. I love hellbenders. They're so unique, but they have a problem. Hellbender populations are on the decline throughout most of their range. From water quality issues to degrading freshwater river systems to fungal disease and even climate change, Hellbenders are slowly becoming more and more threatened. But thanks to the work of organizations like the Columbus Zoo in the wilds, there is a real hope for the future of this organism. It has been a real honor to be able to work with and film this animal over the past several years. And it's my hope that people will watch this video, become more aware of wildlife in their own backyard, and even excited for the real wild adventure that waits in nature. As always, keep them real, keep them wild. And I'll see ya in the next adventures.